Hi, everyone. Welcome back. All right, we're going to continue with Entitled. I went to the library today and picked up all the books that I had on hold. I'm going to show them to you so that we can, get an idea. I'm keeping a list of what we want to read over the next little while. All right, now, Sheer Denise did this one as well. Revenge by Tom Bower, because someone said they'd like to read Tom Bower. And that's the other ones by Tom Bower were, at my library, were not ones about royalty. He's written some other stuff, but anyway, I just don't know if I can handle that. But you tell me. It's definitely not pro Meghan and Harry, that's for sure. I got this, Diana, her true story, and I think it was later Diana in her own words, but this is the first printing in 1992. I didn't want to get the one. Oh, my mom had this book. Isn't that funny? I just remembered because I opened to this page and I remember as a kid looking through this exact layout. So yeah, I wanted to get the one before after her death and all the updates and the stuff that he added after. Because I heard some conflicting reviews that some people didn't really like the changes that he made. Okay, I got this one, A Voyage Around the Queen, which is... I mean, it seems like it's really fun. And it had some good reviews. Let me look at how the chapters are set up. I guess it's just like 1, 2, 3. But in the front, it has like this cute little... It's like a game board, and it has like little shakes 4 millionth hand. Recollections may vary. COVID lockdown, address the nation. This is cute. The very end is retires to bed without a fuss. Aww. Cover of Time, age 3. So it kind of goes through like all of these little portions of her life. And I don't know. I thought maybe we would enjoy this. So, maybe we'll read this next. Okay, got that one. Now, I am so excited about this one. I know no one's as excited about this as I am. But like I said, I might read it as an aside. Okay. So whatever we read next, I might do this one as a side, and I might do Spare as a side as well. So fear not, if you don't want to hear Spare, if you don't want to hear this one, there will be something else going that you can listen to. But Spare had me cackling, okay? I'm not going to read it in a serious tone. Like, I'm going to just be hooting the whole time, no doubt. Anyway, this one, oh, the light. The Private Lives of Winston Churchill, like this was gossipy when I was reading it. And I was just kind of fascinated by it. So, I might read it as an aside. Okay, so got that. Now, I also got A Royal Duty by, is it Burrell or Burrell? I think it must be Burrell, right? Anyway, A Royal Duty. Now, people were really up in arms when this came out. And I'm trying to think. Everything's all a blur. Was I reading in Entitled yesterday about this guy who was her butler? About this guy having all of her stuff in his attic. Like, apparently he took so many things. He had boxes of her underwear, her nightgowns. Like, he emptied out her dresser drawers when she passed. Like, he took all this stuff. Anyway, the police show up at his door and they're like, you have some stuff. And he's like, no? What? Anyway, apparently they get to there's stuff all over his house, but they get to the attic and a cop hollers down and says, it's wall to wall boxes up here. Crazy amounts of stuff. And apparently, Prince Charles and the Queen, they just were like, just release a statement that he was allowed to have it, like everything. So they just didn't want to cause a scene. And they were afraid of stuff that he had that he might like start releasing to the public. He literally had her underwear. Like, not that he was doing anything with it, but so I can't decide if he hadn't done anything with it. He just had it. So I don't know if he was like so attached to her. Like when my auntie passed away, like I kept weird things. Like I had some of her underwear. Like I couldn't bear, like when my uncle was cleaning her stuff out, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready to get rid of her stuff. And so I just like was hoarding everything. I'm like, I'll take it. And then I just kept it, cause I just was not ready to say goodbye. So it could have been like that. You know what I mean? Because he does write a lot about her, but I think he maybe is a little like sycophantic, like I think maybe he just casts her in the best light possible, which is fine. We all need people like that, don't we? Who will just cast us in the best light ever. Okay. What else did I get? Oh no. I got a card for my boyfriend for our anniversary, but I threw the books in on top of it and now it's completely crushed. I'll have to, anyway, it's a thinking of you card, but it's blank inside. So I thought this was cute. It's us. I can't stand getting cards that are like, all I think about is you all day long. I was looking at cards and I'm like, he's going to think I'm insane, because he is not the kind of guy who like wants someone, like he wants me to like, he doesn't want to be the main focus of my life. You know what I mean? Like he would be very upset if he thought that I had no hobbies and no interests and that all I did was sit around all day and be like, yeah. So I'm always careful when I get cards. I'm like, some of these they're like, I just can't wait to spend the next 1 million years staring into your eyes. And it's like, okay, like I may feel that way in my heart, but okay, like I am a softie, but some of these cards like ick me because they're so extra. And it's like, you can write a beautiful sentiment yourself, but I'd be embarrassed to give him that. I'd be like, not really. And then I got him a birthday card. It's rejoice and be glad. This is the day the Lord made you. Because we're both religious. Different religions, but we're both religious. Anyway, what was I going to tell you? Oh yeah, so it's my birthday on Saturday. And then on the 7th of December, it's our anniversary. And then on December 10th, it's his birthday. So I was like tempted, maybe we should just celebrate it all at once, just like do one thing. But then I thought, no, because I know I'll be upset if then he really holds me to that. And it's like, I didn't call you on your birthday because we already celebrated everything at once. I got I got, sorry, that's probably really loud in the mic. I got all these Christmas chocolates to fill the kiddos' advent calendar, because we have like a big wooden one and the drawers open. So I had to get those because last year I was late. I'm like, that can't happen again. All right, I'm sorry. I'm probably already thumping. Did I already talk about how I listened to this back in the car? And not this one, but the one from this morning. And man, I was thumping on the table. It was like boom, 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 boom. And I was appalled. So I'm going to try to be more gentle. Okay, so as well as these books, we also have The Royals by Kitty Kelly, and that one's really juicy. So if any of these strike your fancy, I'm kind of curious about A Voyage Around the Queen. That might be nice. Just trying to be quiet here. You tell me. All right, now I've been yapping and yapping. Let's move on to Entitled. All right, this little chapter is entitled Fixer. Oh, one other thing I was going to tell you that I'm thinking of doing. Now, I love classic films, and there are so many that I haven't watched, like ones that are quite a bit older, like ones that may be out of copyright, like 1932, the early 30s, so like the first movies of Cary Grant. There's like a lot of Clark Gable in the 30s. And I was thinking, since a lot of these no longer have a copyright, I might do a watch along with me. And what I would do is I'll start it out by like kind of introducing the movie, and maybe I'll talk about the actors or the actresses a little bit, give like a little background, a little history, and then we could watch it together. And I'll just like make myself like small in the corner and then have the movie large on the screen. So let me know what you think. Because I was kind of wondering, should I mute myself while that's going on? Because you probably don't want to hear me cackling or me commenting. And then I could comment at the end. Or if you would like ongoing commentary throughout, let me know. Because that's something I would like to do, because I think it would be fun. Okay. Fixer. In May 2016, the Daily Mail published an article that again raised questions about the dividing line between Andrew's role as special representative and his own private business interests, alleging that in April 2011, the Duke had acted as a fixer for a foreign consortium in Kazakhstan in return for a £3.83 million commission. Using his status and his relationship with Kenneth Rakashev, who had brokered the sale of Sunninghill, Andrew had acted as a fixer in a £385 million investment in Kazakhstan on behalf of EYDAP, Greece's largest water firm, and a Swiss finance house, Ares Capital from Zurich. They had wanted to build water and sewage networks in two of Kazakhstan's largest cities and had enlisted Andrew's help. Though Rakashev meetings had been arranged with the mayors of Astana and I don't know these places, Almaty, along with representatives of local water authorities. The prince's spokesman, David Pogson, initially denied the Duke's involvement with the two companies. His Royal Highness works to promote economic growth and skilled jobs creation in the United Kingdom and has not acted on behalf of any international company. After the newspaper showed Pogson a copy of an email dated 14 April 2011, which Andrew had personally sent to Rakashev on behalf of both EYDAP and Ares, Buckingham Palace first claimed it was a forgery, and then tried through Harbottle and Lewis to halt publication of the article on privacy grounds. The palace finally issued a statement, claims that the Duke of York acted as a so-called fixer for an international consortium and stood to benefit from a potential contract in Kazakhstan are untrue, defamatory, and a breach of the editor's code of conduct. Oh yeah, it's a breach of the editor's code of conduct, right? Sorry, forgot. This is so disappointing, is it not? There clearly was a public interest in the story, and concerns were raised why the former special representative should be helping foreign firms with public money had been spent. £10 million alone for his police protection officers, so that Prince Andrew could promote British companies. So they spent £10 million for his police protection, for him to go to these places, and what's he doing? Trying to broker a deal between, Switzerland, Greece, and Kazakhstan with not a penny in sight for the UK. Obviously, he'd be getting something. The email that Andrew had sent Rakashev had begun, "We would like to discuss the potential of supporting the water company." The "we" suggesting he was part of the business plan. It was sent not from an official UK government email account, but a private one hosted by Unitech, a small computing firm in Buckinghamshire that has a royal warrant. He continued to push the deal along. In the end, the agreement fell through in late 2011, after Kazakh police opened fire on a group of striking oil workers in the city of Sanosin, killing 14, and EYDAP pulled out, but as a result of the introductions, Rakashev and Andrea Bub of Ars Capital began to discuss mining opportunities involving a gold mine called Taldibulak and a zinc firm called Shalkia Zinc. And EYDAP's Mr. Bardis and Rakashev set up a deal for investment in the Greek tobacco company. A source at Ars Capital stated, "Our feeling was that if it went ahead, a fair commission for the prince would be 1%, or around 5 million euros. 1% is 5 million euros? Are you kidding me? My mind is boggled." The Mail wondered that if the prince could earn £4 million for sending a few emails, doesn't it seem entirely possible he has been doing the same kind of thing with other firms and in other countries? Fair question. That 1% point seemed to be the going rate. It was what his ex-wife had suggested for access to Andrew when caught in her sting by the fake sheikh. She didn't get that out of nowhere. Kazakhstan was a magnet at the time, not just for commercial activity, but as a recently independent Russian territory, a base for intelligence operations. One Kazakh businessman encountered Andrew several times, both on private visits and on official visits as special representative, while working in Kazakhstan, and was not impressed. He found the Duke arrogant and stupid, feeling Andrew was simply there to have a good time and achieved little to promote trade. He can't hold a conversation because he has no depth and won't listen. He was much more interested in making suggestive comments to attractive women than talking business. Everyone knew he was a joke. The businessman noted the close relationship with the president and his son-in-law, Timur, who would often invite Andrew to private houses or the VIP sections of nightclubs where girls would be provided for him. On one occasion, Andrew disappeared into a back room with 2 members of the Russian-Ukrainian girl group, New Vigros. I cannot read. Virgos. Vigros? New Virgos. Help me. Okay, New Virgos. Meet. Otherwise known as Viagra. On another, girls were refused entry to Andrew's hotel and had to be infiltrated up the fire escape. The businessman has no doubt that Andrew would have been photographed on these escapades, with the material kept as compromat. Veronika Abitova, a model and medical student in Kazakhstan, interviewed by journalist Ian Halperin, admitted to having been part of a ring of women Nazarbayev supplied to various dignitaries. She knew women who were provided for the Duke. Prince Andrew loved Astana because he could do whatever he wanted without media scrutiny. He also did a lot of business deals with Nazarbayev, mainly in the oil and gas industry. He made a fortune. And the best part was that he didn't have to invest a penny. Nazarbayev loved the prestige of including the prince in major business deals because it looked very good for him. It was a win-win for both parties. According to Richard Orange, the Daily Telegraph's correspondent in Kazakhstan, in 2010, Andrew had set up a Kazakhstan student, then in her late 20s, in a smart apartment in Mayfair. Her TEFL teacher confirmed the Duke visited once a month and kept other girls in similar situations. Adding, the student in question absolutely refused to talk to any journalist. She later married a wealthy Italian client. New disclosures now came to light surrounding the 2007 sale of Sunninghill Park, allowed to sit empty by its new owners, decaying for 8 years, until it was razed to the ground in 2015. At one point, Bracknell Forest Borough Council had considered seizing it under the 2004 Housing Act to use as a shelter for the homeless. Can you imagine if that had gone through? Oh my word, the howls that would have gone up. Emails obtained under Freedom of Information legislation showed that, contrary to claims of an arm's-length arrangement, Andrew was far more involved in the sale than previously admitted. His aide, Amanda Thirsk, had discussed interior design and security arrangements with purchaser Timur Kulabayev, and she had tried to arrange for him to lease 2 fields next to the house from the Crown Estate for a peppercorn rent of £200 per acre. Leaked emails also revealed she had arranged for the oligarch's representatives to meet Crown Estate officials to discuss buying multi-million-pound properties near Kensington Palace, shortly before the sale of Sunninghill was finalized. Buckingham Palace repeated its statement that the sale of Sunninghill Park was a straight commercial transaction between the trust, which owned the house, and the trust which bought it. There were no side deals and absolutely no arrangement from the Duke of York to benefit otherwise or to commit to any other commercial arrangement. A source close to Andrew told Halperin that after questions were asked, the Queen called the right people and was able to put out the fire. House of Ferguson. The Duchess continued to set up new companies, more recently under the name Margaret, her middle name. Now, isn't that interesting? York, so under the name Margaret York. One partnership, to be called the Duchess Collection, was established with an expensive tonic water brand, Double Dutch. Its cans sold for 10 times the price of own brand tonics. To tap the Duchess's 11,300 followers on Instagram and 96,000 followers on Twitter. In September 2015, she had embarked on a 2-day cruise entitled Fergie's Flying Culinary Circus from Oslo to Kiel, having linked up with the company Color Line for an afternoon tea range of teas, jams, biscuits, cakes, plates, and candles, styled as the nearest thing to royal products. Now, doesn't this just sound like Meghan Markle? Right? Shades of Meghan. The U.S. publisher Abrams had announced publication of a 128-page book, Tea and Gratitude, which over 12 chapters would teach readers how to set the perfect table, throw a tea party, brew and serve the perfect cup of tea. The publishers were promising her trademark whimsy, with a flavor of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party from Lewis Carroll's novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. In return for a six-figure fee, Sarah was also promoting hair straighteners on QVC, boasting that they came in royal purple. She was now handled by talent agency Kruger Cohn, and had signed up to a corporate speakers agency in Canada, where her services were being offered at $20,000 a time to talk about her personal journey to fulfillment. Well, count me out. Princess Beatrice was also in talks with U.S. speaking agencies. Oh, now there's someone that I would even care less to hear from. You know, you've grown up a princess. What in the world are you going to tell me about life and about living and about anything? Please. That would just irk me to no end. It was all beginning to pay dividends. In July 2015, Sarah had moved some of her furniture, including a steel drum, to the chalet in Verbier as part of a move to Switzerland for tax reasons, though she kept a London room and a room at Royal Lodge. She told the Swiss newspaper, Le Nouvelle... Oh, guys, it's a Swiss newspaper. I have begun the process of officially becoming a resident of Valais. The leak of 1.5 million files from a Panama-based law firm, Mossack Fonseca, in April 2016 demonstrated her own financial wealth had become so convoluted that at one point she herself did not know who managed her assets. Can you imagine not knowing who was managing your money? No. Her solicitors, Clintons, had to contact the Panama firm to discover who the directors of the company are and who the beneficial owners of the company are. It turned out that Isar Company Incorporated, itself managed through a trust services company in Geneva, which had been set up in the British Virgin Islands in May 2000, owned the trademarks to the Little Red children's books. Her spokesman insisted she always disclosed all sources of income in her tax returns. In November 2016, it was revealed that Sarah had launched a £25 million, later increased to £40 million lawsuit against the publishers of The News of the World after Mazhar Mahmood had been charged with perverting the course of justice in a collapsed drugs trial. She claimed she had been tricked and had lost £510,000 each year from lost speaking engagements and media articles. Her spokesman insisted the legal action was not opportunistic. Lawyers for the newspaper defended the claim, accusing her of dishonesty and describing her case as defective and embarrassing. The writ showed that in the year before the Cash for Access scandal, she had made £750,000 from speaking engagements, even though she was supposedly on the brink of bankruptcy. The way that she's spending, it doesn't surprise me that she could make that much money and still be on the brink of bankruptcy because it's like water. In the year after the article appeared, her earnings had dropped to £54,000. She also claimed that investors in two television animation projects, Fergie's Farm and Tea for Ruby, which would have earned her £22 million, had been scared off. Among the other ventures which had failed as a result of her loss of reputation were a lifestyle brand called House of Ferguson and a series of higher-end books entitled Madame Pantaloon. Higher-end books. What is happening? What is happening? Madame Pantaloon? I just feel like I'm in topsy-turvy world. Okay, well, whatever. Her legal submission argued the Duchess was working to assist Graham King on raising funds for new projects of $125 million, which is 90.2 million pounds. The commission that would have been payable on funds raised was I'm really bad at numbers. $4,373,250. Yes. A source close to King, who had produced Martin Scorsese's The Departed and Hugo, described the claim as exaggerated. Her other alleged losses included £8,645,000 that she would have earned as a celebrity endorser of vitamins, dietary supplements, and personal care products for the U.S. company Windmill Health Products, and £4.8 million for personal appearances. In the immediate aftermath of the sting, Sarah had explained her actions by saying she was drunk, was trying to help a friend, and in debt. Now, in an article from 2011, which Harper's Bazaar had republished, she claimed it had been a misunderstanding. I didn't do that, selling Access. The story now was that the Indian mogul had wanted to start a business, and she had said, if you're going to invest in my business, with that comes my family, because we're all a team together. In April 2019, the Duchess would abandon her claim against the paper, having spent $504,546 pounds in legal fees. In July 2017, there was a fresh media censure after David and Victoria Beckham shared a princess-themed 6th birthday party held for their daughter Harper, with their 38.5 million followers on Instagram, revealing that it had been at Buckingham Palace. Does that not seem cheap? That they're letting people come have princess-themed birthday parties at Buckingham Palace? I don't like that. That's gross. It's just like a venue for the rich and famous, and I just think that's tawdry. One of the pictures showed Harper with Princess Eugenie. The Yorks, both of whom attended, claimed it was a private event for a family friend, but critics pointed out that the palace, currently being refurbished, with £370 million of public money, was not a playground for the privileged few, but a building paid for by the British taxpayer, and access to it should not depend on wealth or connections. Hear, hear. I'll raise a glass to that. A private event should not then have been advertised to millions. Dickie Arbiter, the Queen's former assistant press secretary, was angered. What is Eugenie having a party there for? What is Sarah York doing, having organized it, allegedly? None of them has got a right to be there. Is it being opened up as a theme park? It devalues what the place is all about. The Beckhams were not the only celebrities to have been given access. In November, it was revealed the actor Kevin Spacey, facing allegations of sexual assault, had been photographed sitting on the 1953 coronation throne in breach of protocol while on a private tour of Buckingham Palace given by Prince Andrew. Are you kidding me? In spite of these gaffes, Sarah had worked her way back into royal approval, a mark of how she was able to play her husband. The rehabilitation had been encouraged by Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, who had known Susan Barantis, and whose brother, Mark Shand, had worked with Sarah at his wildlife charity, the Elephant Family. The Duchess featured in the court circular after she attended an event in January 2016 as Prince Andrew's official representative. She had been invited to Balmoral, had accompanied Andrew to the royal enclosure during Ascot in 2015, and even been given permission to host an event for children in crisis at Windsor Castle. According to one well-placed source, she pulls his strings, Andrew pulls the Queen's strings, That's why she's at Balmoral. For someone who can be so bonkers in her personal life, she's extraordinarily shrewd when it comes to managing her relationship with the Queen. They continued, her influence on the Duke of York is not necessarily in the royal's best interests. I wonder why the Queen seems unable to see this. Okay, we're going to stop there because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to... Sorry, I have a gurgle in my throat. I'm starving. I'm going to read the synopsis of our list of books. Okay? So I'll take some time and read these, and then you can decide which one interests you the most. All right, so I'll start with this one, The Royals by Kitty Kelly. Okay. In this controversial book, after 4 years of research and hundreds of interviews with palace insiders, Kitty Kelly unveils the best-kept secrets in Britain, the questions around one queen's parentage and another's conception, the well-hidden royal affairs, the real reason for the tumultuous relationship between the Queen Mum and Diana, the behind-the-scenes accounts of the royal marriages, the mysterious circumstances around Diana's death, and more about the world's most beloved aristocracy. An eye-opening book that has been updated with the family's latest exploits, The Royals is a haunting portrayal of Charles and Diana, and it's about a lot of others. Fascinating in its details and must read for us all. Okay, there's that. Okay, A Royal Duty. Paul Burrell, butler to Diana, Princess of Wales, and the man she called My Rock, presents for the first time the untold story behind one of the most sensational chapters in the history of the House of Windsor. He traded the cobbled streets of a coal-mining village for a life inside gilded palaces. He was the favorite footman who formed a unique relationship with the Queen. He was hand-chosen as butler by the Princess of Wales. He became her intimate confidant, whom she described as the only man I can trust. He was accused of theft, then acquitted following the historic intervention of the monarch. He is the one man who can separate the myth from the truth of the Diana years. A Royal Duty, the story of shocking secrets, absolute power, and unlikely alliances. The story behind previously unseen letters and photos and first-person insights. The story that will rewrite history and stand alone as the archive of Princess Diana's time as a royal. The story of a faithful subject and his moving tribute to the Queen and the princess he served. This is Paul Burrell's Royal Duty. Okay. The Private Lives of Winston Churchill. He was a lion of a man who helped shape the course of this century with his relentless ambition and fierce political instincts. Few have matched Winston Churchill's cunning or force of will. Few have seen the equal of his audacity on the battlefield or the determination with which he strove toward his own ideal of greatness. At the height of his power, he seemed to embody the ideals of the empire he helped sustain: valor, pride, and above all, tradition. His sense of personal destiny was rooted deeply in the legacy of his birthright, the heritage of his family, and the awesome responsibility of being born Churchill. In The Private Lives of Winston Churchill, John Pearson takes us behind the myth of Churchill and deep into the psychology of a dynasty that some have called the most complicated Anglo-American family of this century. In doing so, he reveals, in rich portraits, some of the family's greatest, most charismatic, and most deeply troubled members, and shows us the real private Winston Churchill. Here was a man obsessed with himself and his dreams of glory, yet at the same time, He was haunted by strange anxieties and recurring depressions, by the memory of his mother Jenny, the Brooklyn-born society beauty who counted England's most influential men among her circle of lovers, and by his father, Lord Randolph, whose extraordinary political rise was matched only by his speedy, tragic downfall. John Pearson shows how Churchill's parents and the towering achievements of his ancestor, the first great Duke of Marlborough, dominated Winston's heart and mind, just as he himself would come to dominate the fates of his own wife, son, and daughters. The Private Lives of Winston Churchill is a family saga played out against the great events and darkest hours of England's history, the world wars, the political intrigues of Parliament, the scandals that kept the Churchills in the columns, and the momentous decisions that kept them in the headlines. With Winston at the center, Pearson travels through the generations, revealing the high cost of the family's accomplishments and the suffering behind the seemingly glamorous exploits. Never before have the Churchills been observed so closely or so truly. John Pearson brings them and their friends, lovers, and rivals to life once more. Wow. Okay. A Voyage Around the Queen. Virginia Woolf compared her to a caterpillar. Anne Frank kept pictures of her on the wall of the secret annex. Jimi Hendrix played her tune. Haile Selassie gave her a gold tiara. Dirk Bogard, I don't know who Dirk Bogard is, watched Death in Venice with her. Andy Warhol envied her fame. Donald Trump offended her. E.M. Forster confessed he would have married her, if only she had been a boy. Queen Elizabeth II was famous for longer than anyone who has ever lived. When people spoke of her, they spoke of themselves. When they dreamed of her, they dreamed of themselves. She mirrored their hopes and anxieties. To the optimist, she seemed an optimist. To the pessimist, a pessimist. To the awestruck, charismatic. And to the cynical, humdrum. Though by nature reserved and unassuming, her presence in a room could make presidents, tycoons, and rock stars turn back into the nervous children they once were. For close to a century, she inhabited the psyche of the world. Combining biography, essay, cultural history, dream diary, travelogue, and satire, Craig Brown, the best-selling and award-winning author of 99 Glimpses of Princess Margaret and Hello, Goodbye, Hello, presents a kaleidoscope portrait of this most public yet most private of sovereigns in Q, A Voyage Around the Queen. Okay. Diana. Sorry, my mascara's been on my eye for too long and it's starting to melt into my eyeball. Okay. For the first time, here is the true story of Princess Diana, complete with revelations that will shock the world. Diana, her true story, is a unique royal biography. It is based on facts that are published here for the first time and includes private photographs made available exclusively for this book. The author has had the cooperation and support of members of Diana's family and her closest friends. They have all spoken freely of Diana's life, her problems, and how she has tried to solve them. Andrew Morton has painted a shocking portrait that will be front-page news all over the world. Diana, Princess of Wales, is one of the best-loved women in the world. Since her storybook marriage to Prince Charles, she has captured the admiring eyes of the public. We have watched her blossom into a great beauty, raise a young family, and campaign for a long list of charities. Her world seems perfect, but behind this image of perfection lies a disturbing truth. Here, Andrew Morton reveals that truth. In Diana, her true story, we learn that Diana's marriage to Prince Charles has been unhappy from the very beginning. In fact, Diana has described her wedding day as the most emotionally confusing day of her life. Behind Diana's elegant, smiling face is a woman trapped in a loveless marriage, who has suffered from chronic illness and loneliness, and who has gone to the depths of despair where recovery seemed impossible. Yet she has courageously struggled to create a new life for herself. This is a stunning book because it tells the truth. It tells the story of a girl who became a princess before she became a woman, and the story of a woman who found herself through adversity. Okay, and last but not least, oh, I'm so sorry. The eye is stinging. Oh, listen, girls and guys, I cannot wait to put a pizza in the oven tonight. My. Okay, that's what I'm doing right after this. So we have Revenge by Tom Bauer. And I know that okay, you know what? Let me just say this once and for all. I'm not going to say anymore. I know Cheer Denise has read it. I know. I read a lot slower than Cheer Denise. And when you listen to Cheer Denise, you're really there to hear her commentary, not so much the book content. It's like, 60-40. Is that the maybe even less, like 40% the book, 60% cheer. That's what you're there for, right? In my opinion. For me, I think it's more about the book. Okay, so Tom Bauer's Revenge. Meghan Markle's trajectory from unknown actress to world icon is remarkable. After a childhood spent on Hollywood film sets, she fought hard for stardom. But even when she landed her breakthrough role, her lifelong dream of celebrity remained elusive. In 2018, she created the ultimate fairy tale ending. She captivated her very own prince. Finally, the world was her stage. The British royal family believed that the dizzy success of the Sussex wedding, watched and celebrated around the world, was the beginning of a new era for the Windsors. Yet, within one tumultuous year, the dream became a nightmare. In the aftermath of the infamous Megxit split and the Oprah Winfrey interview, the royal family's fate seems persistently threatened. The public remains puzzled. Meghan's success has alternatively won praise, bewildered, and outraged, confused by the Sussex's slick publicity. Few understand the real Meghan Markle, what lies ahead for Meghan, and what has happened to the family she married into. Can the Windsors restore their reputation? With extensive research, expert sourcing, and interviews from insiders who have never spoken before, Tom Bauer, Britain's leading investigative biographer, unpicks the tangled web of courtroom drama, courtier politics, and thwarted childhood dreams to uncover an astonishing story of love, betrayal, secrets, and revenge. This actually sounds really good. That actually has caught my interest. Okay, well, that's what we have. So you tell me. All right. Hi, Timothy. Are you okay, baby? Are you okay? He's flopped down by the heater. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I know it's a little shorter because I wanted to go through all of this, but I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you sometime tomorrow. Bye.